So we're back again, doing more plaster, and was sprinkling some soda over where one of the cats decided to let rip, which is great because that's going to soak into the wood floor and it'll be just crap. So we've come in after a couple of days and gone, alright, yep, cool, that last coat really isn't going to be the last coat. And you can see these little patches that we've been filling in. Bubbles, just lots of bubbles. So now we're just completely cutting away that piece of tape, and we're either going to be putting a, if it's a square section like this, then we'll put a whole new piece of tape in, just that span, just that small bit. You can see up on the roof. So square ones are a little bit more tape, but if the bubble didn't cross over the center line of our paper tape like this one, we'll just infill that with plaster. But the goddamn everywhere. So yeah, plastering, not easy.
Not our favourite part of this trip.
No. And, you know, if you had to guess, what would you say your favourite part was?
Obviously, demo.
Demo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love to get onto a wall with a sledgehammer?
Or through a wardrobe. God damn it.
Maybe the news.
Yeah, yeah. Alright. So, our process to fix is relatively simple. Grab a craft knife, cut out a section. Just slice, and because there's so much air behind these bubbles, it just lifts right off, and that's fine. Then you get a whole bunch of plaster, or for some reason everyone's calling it mud elsewhere on YouTube, and put a bunch in. And then I'm going to get a bit of paper that I've cut to length, slap that bad boy in there, and I can feel the ridges of where it used to be up on top and used to be down below. So, maybe this is why we're getting so many problems. Put a bit more in there. So, yeah, so it goes to the bottom. That's why I've cut this piece a bit too long. So, I'm going to pinch it with, I keep calling them spatulas, I'm pretty sure it's not what I call them. But you use that as a straight line anyway. You want to start from the middle, pretty much. And wet the paper tape, make it just a little bit soggy. I saw some videos of some people like dipping this in a bucket of water before they put it in. Pretty much every other video they just, and like the jib video itself, it just is to use more plaster over the top. So that's what I'm going to do. So sort of hold it in place, run the knife down, make sure every gap underneath is fill and you've got enough plaster to make it adhere to the surface below. You're going to do the same going up, just pressing nice and firm, squeezing out that excess plaster, and hopefully all the bubbles and gaps of air underneath as well. So that is the fix. I'm just going to add another little bit over top, because I could just leave this to dry, but I just like making sure that it's all nice and smooth. The knife that I'm using here is pretty much the width of the paper tape. We've got 3 different sizes of knives. One that fits the paper tape, one that doesn't, but is a lot more flexible, and probably the right thing for the corners. And then we've got our bigger wide blade knife over there that helps you to, they call it feathering. But what you want to do is, when you're spreading it nice and wide, so that that rays that comes up and spread out over an area, you press that wide one as hard as you can in, so that it's almost transparent on the edges, like that. And And that's how you get like the thinnest bit to be the thinnest bit. So, yeah. Maybe we will have a lot more time to be a bit more picky with the next room, but for now this is what we've got. We've also, this is a plastering trowel, and this is actually a concrete trowel that works just as well in doing that, and this is a corner trowel for doing the corners. The corners actually turned out okay, which is good. I think one of the biggest tricks with the ceiling was trying to like put plaster from one end of the room to the other, then rolling the tape out and not having gravity like pull it away, and then pushing it in, and then you come back to the middle, and then you try and like actually fan it out, and it just never worked out very well. So yeah, and even some of these screws, I've just gone and sanded around a lot of these screws, but you can see that they weren't pushed in hard enough either, so we're going to have to, I guess, if I sand them all down, and then we can go back to the one or two that we need to drive further in with the screwdriver, put more plastering over top. It's a whole process. But you need 2 coats, because these ones over here that I put 2 coats on, or I put 1 coat on because I pushed them back up higher because they were like that. Now they have a little divot in the middle where the plaster is dried differently over the top of the metal of the screw instead of drying on the jib around it. So now I've got a little divot in there, and a little divot you can't just, well, I guess you could paint over it, but it's not good practice. You want the whole thing smooth. So yeah, we'll get this heater running, we'll dry these out as quick as we can, and we'll get at least 2 coats of plaster over, and I just want this plaster to be done this weekend. Saturday today, so it's about time that we just get this done. And then over the course of the week, we can paint. So we'll get a couple coats in today. Yeah. The rule with sanding, so I'm told, is that if you run your finger over it, if you can feel a bump, you need to sand a bit more back. If you can't feel a bump, doing good. So pretty simple. So we've got 2 heaters, and I've had them going for maybe 5 hours now. You can sort of see that it's pretty dry. Where's that other patch over here? Oh yeah, I mean there's a little bit of discoloration still, but that's okay. That's just that it's such a thin coat because it's the first coat. So sweet, so we'll be good to, well, we'll leave this headers going for like another hour because you want it to be dry the whole way through, not just the surface. And we'll put this light on and sand some more and plaster some more. We found a bubble.
Because you can see where it's pulled away.
Yeah. Just want to start this. Oh no, from that angle it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh, let's cut that now before we go. Yeah. All right. Well, Emma's doing touch-ups. We've ripped out one more because it was full of bubbles again, and you can sort of see where we had already in this section that we've just ripped out. We'd already cut and then replastered over that, and there was another one up here. So now I've got to take one of these and like scrape that channel out so that we have some depth to work with when we put the next piece of new tape in. I guess if we just keep doing this, we'll eventually get it so it's all fucking good, but god damn, this is taking a while. Any tips or tricks for the people at home, Emma?
No. Don't fuck it up the first time.
How about the...
And don't drop plaster.
How about the second time? Or the third time? Fuck it up then?
No, if you don't fuck it up the first time, you can't fuck it up the second time.
Ah, alright.
Not fucking it up.
You
don't have a second.
are a clever lady.
Yes.
Looks like you need a bit more.
Well observed there, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for the bucket. It's fairly firm in the bucket, so you got to grab like a bit of a dollop and then work it. Work it, girl.
Ew.
Nah, she needs it creamy, so she's got to really just push it around. That's what they say, right?
Push it around until it's creamy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's the plasterer's way. So I guess it'll be a little bit late, really, for anyone's comments to be able to give us any help here, because I mean, I've just been real slack with putting these videos up lately. I do apologise for that. It has been quite some time since the last one. But this won't be the only room we do. As daunting as that sounds, we've definitely gained a few skills from this, and when we come to the second and third bedrooms, the hallway, the lounge, we're just going to be getting better and better. So,
well, we hope.
We hope. So if you do have any comments or any ideas of where our technique's gone wrong, feel free to let us know. Because that's the weird part. Like, I've been a member of the YouTube community for quite a few years now, and like, I guess when you don't have thousands and thousands or millions of people watching and saying stuff, it's actually pretty collaborative, and the community that you have is the people that actually respond and communicate and say stuff. What happened?
It wasn't fucking straight. So it was actually sitting on top of the lip.
Right.
Rather than in the actual gap.
So can I recommend that you push it in at the top, and then you like push it in at the bottom, and then you go to the middle and just like work it in?
That's not how YouTube does it.
How does YouTube do it?
I don't fucking know how much it is. And it's good. Stop filming and messing this up now.
Nah, this is the interesting part.
Watching me get it wrong.
Always. It's a rare opportunity, so we've got to really just go for it while we have the opportunity.
It doesn't happen very often.
I know. You chose me after all, so.
Well, that was my business. I can't even bloody tell where the gaps are anymore because there's so much plastic.
Yeah, so I had to chip it out. So, pressed in. She's got the thin of the spatulas.
Yes.
They're not called spatulas. They've got another name. I can't never freaking remember. You got red eyes too on this video.
I've got red eyes.
Yeah.
Natural form coming out when I do this.
So press hard. Get all the bubbles out. She might even be angling her spatula a little bit so that it comes out to one side more than the other. At the moment, you've got a little wave coming through the bottom. Yeah, that's nice. And the same, but up. Also, fair enough if you don't listen to us whatsoever, because obviously we've got this so fucking wrong.
We have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
So, probably probably
You're going to put that back on the paper, right?
Can you just give me a minute? Just let me. I want to make sure there wasn't bubbles over it.
Nice and smooth consistency. That's what we like.
That must be why it didn't work for you, because you're not smooth.
Oh! That is rough. Oh my god! Nah.
Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras.
Turn them back on, you got a black eye or something. Fuck. We're very PC around here. It's a little bit satisfying though. Like if you had the time to just muck around, it would be okay. But as it is, we don't have the time to get it perfect.
Yes. I can only cross my legs.
So Emma, question is, right this moment, how pregnant are you?
Very.
Good answer. So Emma's 7
and a half.
Yep. That's what you said like half an hour ago. So yep.
I don't even know what I ate for breakfast this morning, Sam.
A baby on the brain. Yeah, so 37 and a half. So yeah, it's getting really sort of down to the wire. The carpet layers should contact us at some point next week and say, hey, the carpet's here.
Are you done yet?
Are we ready to come around? And we're gonna have to say, fuck no.
Fuck no.
Yeah. So that's all good. I think we're going to go with the half Dutch white for the type of white. Didn't love the pearl luster. The parchment that I sort of like the name of is just grey. It's not warm.
It's not really parchment either.
Yeah.
It's like.
It's grey.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is a bit more warm, and that's going to be nice.
Warm, bit neutral.
Yeah.
Easy to do a design on.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, getting real down to the wire. Hopefully during this weekend we finish the plastering and get the painting done, but I think I've already said that like several times, so I'm probably going to edit this out, but I will. G'day guys, it is COVID, but we're also in New Zealand, so this is just for the plastered us. We are alive and well, for now. So we've just been sanding down. See there's build up in the corners. And we've struck that, especially where we, hopefully you can see that, but especially where we've had a very thin, I suppose, second coat. Or maybe it was just the fact that like this little rip back here started to form on a sander. Yeah, it started to flake the plaster off of the tape itself, which is crap because it means that like that paper is going to soak that paint up and then have the fluffy texture, and it's going to be super visible and obvious. And maybe it's just me being pedantic, but up here you can sort of feel like these little waves across here. But if I sand it down much further, we're just going to get more and more rips. So what I've got to do now is back to the bucket. Got a whole range of tools out here, but we'll just patch up really quickly these little garks that we've made, but it's just kind of way too fine now, so we'll get that sanded and we've just got to move on. We've just got a good enough sort of an attitude, and with the next room we'll be able to have a bit more time and play around and make it nice. Emma has sanded down this wall and this wall this afternoon, so really it's only these two walls left. And that should be all the sanding. So Yeah, we've got to sweep all this up because apparently a regular vacuum cleaner won't be able to handle this much dust. It'll just clog up and basically get wrecked. So that's okay. So I'll let you know that we are still plugging away. Tomorrow we're going to get all of the architrave and skirting board and framing. So we'll call the plastering finished. Other than these bits that we'll have to let dry and just come back to those couple of spots. But they can dry for a day or two while we do our trim around the windows, skirting around the bottom, trim around the door, and our coving up the top, going to be a plaster coving. So that should be kind of fun because it's sort of like this sort of shit that you just spit up, and apparently it looks quite nice. So we'll go over some coping mechanisms. We're using a coping saw anyway to cut out your 45. So even if this corner is not exactly a 45-degree corner, maybe it's a 47, maybe it's fucking, I don't know, 41. It's too hard to tell. There's a little technique you can use that covers that fact up, and if there's any movement in the future, it'll hide that really nicely. So we'll get into that and explain it as we go through. But yeah, plastering.